In the land of Egypt, darkness rested over the hearts of men. A cruel Pharaoh, threatened by the growing number of Israelites, issued a terrible command. Every baby boy must be thrown into the Nile. But among the Israelites lived a courageous mother, a woman whose heart clung to hope. For 3 months she hid her baby boy, protecting him from danger. His name was Moses. When she could hide him no longer, she placed him gently inside a woven basket, set it among the reeds of the Nile, and trusted God with her child's life. Down the riverbank, Pharaoh's daughter came to bathe. She noticed the basket. She lifted the little boy into her arms, and her heart was moved with compassion. She named him Moses, saying, "Because I drew him out of the water." Moses grew up in Pharaoh's palace, surrounded by wealth, taught in all the wisdom of Egypt. Yet deep inside, he never forgot his people. One day he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Anger flooded his heart. Moses acted out of impulse and struck the Egyptian, hiding the body in the sand. But Pharaoh discovered what Moses had done and sought to take his life. Moses fled far from Egypt to a desert land called Midian, where God was preparing him for a purpose far greater than he could imagine. Years passed. One quiet day, as Moses tended sheep near Mount Sinai, he saw something strange. A bush on fire, yet the flames did not consume it. From within the blazing light, God called, "Moses, Moses." Moses answered, "Here I am." God said, "I have seen the suffering of my people in Egypt. I will send you to Pharaoh. You will bring my people out of slavery." But Moses hesitated. "Lord, I am not a good speaker. What if they don't believe me?" And God replied gently, "Who made your mouth? I will be with you." Strengthened by God's promise, Moses set out for Egypt with his wife, his sons, and the staff of God in his hand. Along the way, God sent Aaron, Moses' older brother, to meet him in the wilderness. The brothers embraced, reunited by God's calling. Together, they gathered the elders of Israel and told them everything God had said. When the people heard that God had seen their suffering, they bowed their heads and worshipped. Then Moses and Aaron stood in the palace of Pharaoh and declared, "Let God's people go." But Pharaoh scoffed. "Who is the Lord that I should obey him?" His anger grew, and he increased the Israelites' labor. Their suffering deepened. Moses cried out, "Lord, Bacchum, why have you sent me? Things have only grown worse." And God answered with kindness and power, "I am the Lord. I will redeem my people with my mighty hand." God instructed Moses and Aaron, "When Pharaoh demands a sign, throw down your staff." Aaron obeyed. The staff became a serpent before Pharaoh. Pharaoh's magicians mimicked the sign, but Aaron's serpent swallowed theirs. Still, Pharaoh's heart grew harder, and so the judgments began. Moses stood at the Nile and raised his staff. The water turned to blood, but Pharaoh refused to listen. God sent frogs. Pharaoh begged for relief, but once the frogs vanished, his heart hardened again. Dust became gnats. Even Pharaoh's magicians whispered, "This is the finger of God." Then came flies, but none of the bones of God's people. Egypt's people grew sick and died. Israel's remained unharmed. Painful boils struck the Egyptians, and their magicians could no longer stand before Moses. Fiery hail fell from the sky. Yet in Goshen, where God's people lived, peace remained. Locusts covered Egypt and ate everything green. Darkness settled for 3 days. A darkness so thick it felt alive. But the children of Israel had light in their homes. Finally, Pharaoh exploded with rage, shouting, "Leave my presence! I never want to see you again." Moses replied, "As you wish." God instructed his people to prepare a meal and mark their doors with the blood of a lamb, so the angel of death would pass over them. That night, God protected every home that obeyed him. But a great cry rose from Egypt, for judgment had reached a nation that refused to listen. At last, Pharaoh summoned Moses and said, "Go, take your people and worship the Lord." And so Israel, after 400 years of slavery, began their journey to freedom. God himself led them, a pillar of cloud by day and a glowing pillar of fire by night. They were never alone. But Pharaoh's heart hardened once more. He cried, "Why did we let them go?" and gathered his fastest chariots to bring Israel back. Israel stood trapped, the vast Red Sea before them. The thunder of Pharaoh's army behind them. Fear seized their hearts. "Moses, what will we do?" But Moses lifted his staff and said, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm. The Lord will fight for you." The pillar of cloud moved behind Israel, blocking the Egyptian army in darkness and covering God's people with radiant light. Children pointed in wonder at glowing fish shimmering in the water walls. God held the sea open until every last person had crossed safely. Pharaoh's chariots raced into the sea path, but their wheels jammed. Panic spread. "The Lord is fighting for Israel," they cried. When Israel reached the far shore, Moses stretched out his staff again, and the waters returned to their place. The sea grew calm. The people were free. On the shore, Israel lifted their voices in song. They praised the God who saved them and trusted Moses, his servant. Miriam took her tambourine, and all the women followed her, dancing with joy, singing, "The Lord is our strength and our salvation." If this story blessed you, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us spread the gospel and reach even more hearts.